The following is a paid issue advertisement.
If the vote count is accurate, then how come the number of voters is different? And if it's not accurate, then why was it certified? We are suing Letitia James and the New York State Board of Elections for a conspiracy against fundamental rights. This is not about who won. It's not about what party. It's about the fact that they don't care about your rights. Paid for by RealAmerica.vote, a DBA of New York Citizens Audit Civic Fund, Incorporated.
Go to RealAmerica.vote.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the number to reach me, 800-848-9222. The phone lines are open right now as we have a lot to talk about. We're going to get to that right now. I say this to you, Mamdani supporters, behind a socialist mayor. You went for the con of something for nothing. It doesn't exist. Free. I told you this, 8 months, a year before the election? And this man, his perspective, he sums it up just about accurate.
It's impossible to make anything free in New York City. If you believe anything promises Mamdani is making, it's because you're stupid. That's it.
Frankly, I couldn't have said it better. Perhaps I wouldn't have selected those exact words, but it is what it is. I've been covering the city of New York for a very long time. When I started in 1986, you could see needles everywhere, drug addicts, prostitutes, and it seems like those bad, horrible conditions that we're going back to that. I never thought that I would say that or see that. But 40 years later, it seems like we are going back to all of that nonsense, all of that mess. Dominic, what are you talking about? My home stomping grounds of the Bronx, New York. And that's exactly the way the Bronx is right now. Certain areas, needles everywhere, junkies, heroin addicts. And with addicts, you see them and you know when they're high because they'll bend over, but they never fall to the ground, but it looks like they're about to fall to the ground. And I guess to this reporter at News 12 The Bronx, she had never seen this, but it comes with being an addict, where they're in the middle of the high and they just nod off to the side. Again, this from News 12, The Bronx.
On the streets, it's known as the fentanyl fold. When people are so high, they just bend over and freeze. The city barricaded Roberto Clemente Plaza, where most of the drug users were gathering. The barricades keep the plaza clear, but ever since it closed, people started pooling into the streets, disrupting others and businesses like CNC Department Store.
They scream at you, curse at you, and you can't do anything.
She says urine, feces, needles, everything. It's all over, right outside her store.
Right outside her store. We're going back to 1986, when I first started in journalism, straight out of graduate school. Let's not forget the 76-year-old retired school teacher shoved to his death at the entrance of a subway train station in Chelsea. This from Fox News.
A 76-year-old man is dead after police say he was shoved right down these subway steps in New York City, and the guy who pushed him, according to police, had just been released from a psych ward. Ramil Berg now charged with the murder of Ross Falzone, a retired New York City teacher. And we're learning the suspect had a long rap sheet. Just the other week, police say he attacked two other people on a New York City subway, but when police went to talk to the victims, they said they didn't want to cooperate. Why? Because they said they didn't want to put another black man behind bars. One of those victims now tells the New York Post she wished she would have talked to police.
I'm not even going there as far as the black man thing. You already know how I feel about that, folks. It's ridiculous. His butt should be in jail. I don't care if he's orange. I don't care if he's rainbow. I don't care what he is. But so we have those situations. We're going backwards. Mamdani's New York. Then last night, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to sound kind of arrogant. But what made me such a great journalist for the last 40 years, my keen insights, my ability to see things that's not on the public's radar as of yet. And let me tell you what I clearly see. Mamdani thinks he's slick. He's allowing his protesters that side with him under the First Amendment to do whatever they want at the expense of Jewish New Yorkers. And it is reprehensible. What happened last night? What happened a week before? Days before? Near a Jewish synagogue. The common denominator near a Jewish synagogue. Mayor, does a cat have your tongue? Why are you not speaking up against these things? Police officers are going to be hurt. Members of the Jewish community are going to be hurt or killed. And you, Mamdani, you are tolerating this. You tell me, little Jewish children pushed to the ground, all types of things going on last night. This is Mamdani's New York. 800-848-9222. And what happens at City Hall? Again, folks, I can bring the historical perspective. The media should be running Mamdani out of town every day, but they are so busy kissing his ass because this is what it's called. They are trading coverage for access, which means you kiss the king's ring as often as the king says to kiss it, and he'll give you access. He'll do interviews with you. You get to think that you're important in your own mind because you're interviewing the mayor. I would rather throw up. I mean, let's start with your telephone calls. Let's begin with Lisa, line 1, Syosset, New York. Lisa, what's on your mind?
Well, you're one of the few honest reporters, but I heard you ask the question, why does Mamdani support this? And the answer you got, well, he believes in all this. No, he supports it because this is a supremacist mentality, and he's telling you he's here and we're going to conquer and you're going to go along with things. Just like the Jews in Arab lands, they were inferior. They had to pay a dhimmi tax. They weren't allowed to, they had to ride on donkeys or something. They couldn't be on the same level. That's the message. And I'm not implicating all Muslims. Many of them just want to have good lives, are well educated, but this is a very radical view, and this is what's taking place. And very few people, the people on your network, 770, are willing to at least discuss the truth. Very few want to really address it for what it is, Dominic. That's what I have to say.
And Lisa, you may be correct. Because those protesters, they're his pawns out there doing his bidding. And he gets to hide back and pretend that he's the mayor of all of New York. But he's not acting like the mayor of New York. And you know why he's not acting like he's the mayor of all of New York? Because he's not the mayor to represent all the people. Lisa, thank you for the great call. Let's go to Fran, line 4, Massapequa. Fran, what's on your mind?
Love the show, brother. Great job. Listen, the bottom line is this. He was voted in. We can't forget that. In this great country.
I don't know if I would agree with that, Fran. I really don't know if I would agree with that. The deck was stacked in his favor. I don't want to get into a side conversation, but a disgusting third candidate in the race through the race to Mamdani. He would have lost. So I don't know if he was elected by the people. But go ahead.
I respect your opinion in anything you say, so I totally give that a chance. But the bottom line is this. The Republicans in New York put up two of the worst candidates in the history of candidates, okay? And one of the morons wouldn't drop out. So there's so many people to blame, but the bottom line is this. The people with common sense, the Republicans, people like you, people on this station, we all saw this coming. And it's so sad because I know some wonderful Jewish people. I know some wonderful Muslims, and it's just so sad. And I hate to say it, But the greatest thing to ever come out of that whole Rodney King debacle was, can't we just get along?
And you're making an excellent point there, Fran. The only thing that I would say, you said the Republicans put up. That's not what happened. The Republicans didn't have a candidate. And so someone that loves media attention to the expense of everyone else accepted and went for the nomination. There was no one else. There was no Republican primary like you had on the Democrat side. You just had a candidate accept the nomination and then sell out the entire city of New York. Let's go to Eileen, Medford, New York. Line 1. Eileen, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. I listen to you. Your show is fantastic.
Thank you.
I just have a couple of comments. How do we get rid of this guy? Is it possible to get rid of Mamdani?
You don't. You don't get rid of him. The only way, 700,000 people have signed petitions online to get rid of him. It's just a statement of fact because there is no recall for New York City. The only way you get rid of him is for criminal activity, a conviction, a felony. And I don't even know if you can get rid of him then. I think he would have to resign. But, or if Governor Hochul removes him from office. And that will never happen, or it certainly won't happen this year. She's in a tough election battle. She's not going to get involved, period. So you're stuck with him. And he knew it when he won the election. He knew it. He knew it. So the question, Eileen, what do people do in the New York tri-state area?
Well, I am actually out in Long Island, and thank God I don't have to deal with any of those people most of the time. But we are definitely voting for Bruce Blakeman so we can have a little bit of control because these Democrats are out of control.
And you're correct. You're correct. If you go with Blakeman in the race for governor, Blakeman will tell him you're on ice, Mamdani. You screw up one more time, you're done. Blakeman will get rid of him. That's the only way you can free New York of Mamdani. Let's go to Lou. Thank you, Eileen. Lou in Floral Park, New York, line 2. Lou, what's on your mind?
Yes, Dominic, these Jewish residents have to arm themselves. A knock on the door today is a door being kicked in tomorrow. And then what you do? These people are out of control, insane. They break into a Jewish homeowner's house. What are they going to do?
Well, I don't know about telling people to arm themselves because if you're caught with an illegal gun, you're going to pay the price. If you shoot somebody and authorities find that it wasn't a justified shooting, the person that did the firing is going to jail. I hear you, Lou, but as far as the vigilante stuff, maybe you would say it's self-defense, but I just don't know if that's the answer. Something has to give. I would have continued with you, Lou, but I've got to take a break. Folks, coming up in about 10 minutes, former Congressman Peter King will be joining me live. We are coming right back.
77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's impossible to make anything free in New York City. If you believe anything promises Mamdani is making, it's because you're stupid. That's it.
And that from the protest near a synagogue in Brooklyn. Last night, police clashing with protesters. It's becoming a norm, a regular in New York, and it's being tolerated because of the mayor of New York. And again, I don't want this to go into, because I know history is going to judge me right on this. We're in this position because of one person that used to come on these airwaves, and I want you to think about this, and pretend for years that he was conservative when it was all an act. When he got his time for payback, he took the opportunity and the money and left us with Mamdani, and now has peep to say. Remember when he went to his inauguration? I'm not talking about the Inner Circle video he was in. He went to his inauguration. He said he was going to hold Mamdani accountable. Remember that? That's the equivalent of OJ saying he was going to look for Nicole's killer. I'm looking at my Twitter, at my ex. Liz Rosenblatt says, Dominic, every Jewish, and she capitalizes every, and Jewish homeowner needs to get and she capitalizes the rest of this, an attack dog for protection, unfortunately. I agree with you, Liz. I don't know about a gun, but, and it's not right. It's not right. And here's why it's not right. One, from a human rights point of view, this is New York City. Two, the Jewish community historically stood by the black community. And where are African-American leaders now standing up to say this is not right? Mamdani's New York. You can't do this. Everybody's about getting paid. Everybody cares about their own interest as it's getting worse and worse and worse for the Jewish community in New York City. In New York City under Mamdani. This guy, and we are stuck, and he knows it. Mamdani knows there is nothing you can do with him. He's got the governor kissing his ring whenever he wants it. We can complain, we can whine, we can cry. There is nothing, de nada, that you can do with Mamdani until he's up for re-election. And then a certain candidate who blew the entire race this time is already floating about running again. Maybe that's the senility kicking in, because there's no way Republicans will give him the nomination this time. He's done. So I hope you enjoyed your 15 minutes of fame and ruining the city of New York. And Mr. 7%, you know who I'm talking about. Grace, line 2, Northport, New York. What's on your mind, Grace?
Hi, Dominic. Thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to say that I just wish the conversation would change from pitting the very wealthy against the middle class. And, you know, I have to work 7 days a week as a nurse for one reason, because of my taxes. That's the only reason that I miss time with my kids, that I'm tired all the time. And I don't care that Jeff Bezos is rich, because he's rich because I'm willingly giving him my money. But I do...
Hey, Grace. Wait, Grace, if you want, oh boy, no, I have Congressman King coming up, Grace. If you can call me back tomorrow, I do apologize. I have a hard national break in 8 seconds that I cannot miss. We're going to take a break. Grace, please call back. We are coming right back with Congressman Peter King.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix's Remarkably Bright Creatures. What if a Pacific octopus held the key to a mystery that could heal your heart? Well, that's Tova's reality. An elderly widow working at an aquarium. Tova forms an unlikely friendship with the curmudgeonly Marcellus, whose remarkable intelligence leads her to a life-changing discovery. Remarkably Bright Creatures is now playing, only on Netflix.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back, and joining us as always, and it's one of the segments I greatly look forward to, is former Congressman Peter King. Congressman, how are you? And I hope your family is well.
Dominic, we're all doing well. In fact, this weekend I'm going down to New Orleans. My grandson Jack is graduating from Tulane University, so
wow. Wow. How many grandkids do you guys have?
My grandson Jack and my granddaughter Katie May, and she's 17. Going to be 18 soon.
Wow. So you're headed to New Orleans for the graduation.
Yes, sir. No, it should be a good time. We're looking forward to it.
That is wonderful news. I'm so glad to hear that. And if there's ever anyone that deserves such great news like that, it's you and your wife. So that's wonderful. Congressman King, I want to start this way. You and I have the perspective of going back to the 80s and remembering what New York City was like. It wasn't pleasant. You know, the needles and the parks. And, you know, kids, hypodermic needles, the kids couldn't play and so on. It wasn't as bad as the 70s, but it wasn't, I'm talking pre-Giuliani days. And here we are again, at least in the Bronx and some of the other boroughs. Specifically, what should the Jewish community do? Mamdani, you had last night's protest outside a synagogue. You had one, I believe, a week ago outside a synagogue in Manhattan. Mamdani is turning a blind eye as the mayor of New York City to what is happening to the Jewish community. What can the Jewish community do, if anything?
Tell you, they're really in a difficult spot. I mean, we're talking about the 80s. I don't remember any type of anti-Semitic violence. I mean, there was violence, there was corruption, there was, as you said, there were the needles, there was drugs, there was the graffiti in the subways, the spitting on the windows when you come over the bridge. But really, I think you have to go back to the 1930s, and that's before your time and mine. That was the last time there was actually outward anti-Semitic demonstrations and riots. And that's why, I mean, it was much more than just a demonstration last night. That's a riot. If you're out there fighting with the cops, that's a riot. And that's just horrible. The answer is somehow, I think good people outside the Jewish community have to realize that the Jews may be targeted right now, but this is the Mamdani types, and that whole left-wing movement is really anti-American institutions, and anti-religion, really anti-whatever we consider to be traditional. So other organizations, other denominations, other ethnic groups have to somehow form some sort of unity, but also the media has to get more engaged. I mean, to me, it's wrong when somehow they try to suggest there's some kind of moral equivalence between people who support Israel and people who support Hamas or Hezbollah. I mean, there's no comparison there. We can have an honest debate over what Israel's policy should be. I mean, I support their policies, but that's subject to an honest debate, as our policies are subject to an honest debate. But not this type of racism and vile anti-Semitism that we see, and the violence and the marching in support of Hamas and Hezbollah, which are enemies of the United States of America and everything we stand for. So these are tough times, and I think Mamdani, as bad as he is, in many cases, is a symbol or a metaphor for what we saw with the riots up in Columbia University at NYU, and really in many cases, down in Brooklyn, throughout the city. And it may have really started with George Floyd and ebbed a bit, but now it's come back so strongly ever since October 7th, which you would have thought would have set off an avalanche of support for Israel. Instead, that is, unfortunately, somehow Israel has become the villain in all this, which to me it's disgraceful. So in answer to your question, it's going to be a long, hard fight, and I think good people from all, good men and women from all different races and religions have to come together. The media has to get much more involved in this and stop saying that this is a morally equal dispute here. This is really a fight for survival of our Western civilization.
Well, Congressman, as far as the media goes, you and I both know, I know you're a scholar and a gentleman, so you're not going to call it for what it is, but I will, as a member of the Fourth Estate. These reporters, as I said earlier, they're trading access, and you know that game, Congressman, where I'll kiss your ring, you give me an interview, I'll kiss your ring again, you give me 2 interviews, and it goes on and on and on. There are reporters covering Mamdani for major television stations in New York City that should be removed immediately for their coverage. But the bigger point is, we already know that his wife is a racist and anti-Semitic, but You would think that he would want some fairness as the mayor of all the people. And it's like he's saying, I don't care what the Jews think. I got this control right now, and I may not ever get it again, and I'm going to ride this into the ground. I mean, it seems like he's willing to destroy the city to let these Palestinian nuts get out there and do whatever they want to do.
Well, I don't think he considers himself the mayor of all the city. I think he sees himself as the leader of a cause, and the cause is a left-wing ideology. In many cases, that embraces anti-Semitism. It embraces anti-Americanism. And again, as I said, it goes against what we would consider to be, traditional values and principles, family values, neighborhood values, and also obviously, support for the police. And the police in New York, the NYPD, do a absolutely phenomenal job, and yet they're the ones who are on defense. They're the ones who are on defense. And when you have the mayor, then he's enabled by the state attorney general. You have the governor, who has been such a disappointment, and she just seems to give him whatever he wants. There's almost two things you can count on. Whatever Mamdani asks for, the governor says no, and then a few weeks later she says yes. And
it does seem to be a pattern there. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say that if Blakeman wins, Mamdani is out. I mean, obviously he couldn't come into office and immediately fire him, but he'll sit and wait for one egregious situation to happen, and then Mamdani is done. What do you say, Congressman?
Well, he will certainly keep the pressure on him. He's not going to be pushed around at all by Mamdani. I think you see Bruce Blakeman is going to take measures to support the elements and the forces in New York City who basically support values. He'll be standing with the police. He'll be standing with the community groups who defend the Jewish community. He will be making it clear whose side he is on, that there's no two sides to the fight between Israel and Hamas. And as far as, listen, if anything illegal happens, obviously Bruce will take action. But even apart from that, I think you will see just a real pushback against this whole trend toward socialism and, again, extreme, progressive left policies and a disrespect, again, for the basic values. So it'll certainly be if you're going to call it a counter-revolution or whatever, but when Bruce Blakeman gets in, it's going to be such a turnabout from the left-wing ideology we've been seeing over the last several years, too many years.
Congressman, I do want to ask you this about the media and the mayor's wife. And then I want to get to Tom Homan and Governor Hochul, President Trump, in the little time that we have left here. But, why is the media, besides what I just stated, why are they letting Mamdani get away with his wife's answers? Why are they not pushing him? They are letting him say she's not part of the administration, and that's the end of it. Why are they going along with this?
To me, they certainly should not be. I mean, she is his wife. They are close. It's not like some distant relationship. And if somebody has those extremely radical, offensive views, and you are living with them and you're as close to them as you could be, you really have to answer how you make that distinction. You can't just say, well, I'm in public life and she's not. I mean, obviously, she has an influence, and does he tell her that she's wrong? Does he say that your policies are wrong and your policies are hateful and your policies are damaging to the people of New York? It's one thing to say if a spouse says, I want a 10% tax cut, and the other guy says, I think you should have a 5% tax cut. I mean, those are legitimate arguments. Oh, we should have X number of cops, or we should have X number of teachers. Then you're talking about differences of degree, honest, judgmental differences. But she is her views are so anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-Semitic, and so divisive. To me, he should be explaining how he lives with that, how they coexist under the same roof with those really severely different values. These are not just different views on issues. These are, maybe they're not different values. That's the other part of it. Maybe his are much more identical to hers than he lets on.
Well, if daddy feels that way, if the wife feels that way, then I think it's a safe bet that Mamdani feels that way. I want you to listen to this. Let's go back to Governor Hochul for a second. And I want you to listen to this. Border Czar Tom Homan going after Kathy Hochul as she's pushing, if you will, these draconian anti-ICE legislation ideas.
There's no other reason you'd want significant public safety threats to walk the street in New York. I looked at a list just this morning, Brian, and I looked at a list of top 20. Here's the charges: homicide, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, rape, sexual assault, homicide, sexual assault, homicide, rape, sexual assault, kidnapping, sexual assault, rape, homicide. I can go on and on and on. Top 20 we arrested off the streets of New York because her administration refused to work with us and honor our detainers. She is making New York less safe. President Trump has done more to protect the citizens of New York than she has.
So I want you to respond to that, Congressman Peter King.
I respond by agreeing with Tom Homan. I got to meet Tom Homan several years ago, back in 2017 and 18 in the war against MS-13, when we were traveling to Long Island with President Trump. And Tom Homan was always there on Air Force One. He was always in the car. He was always at the event because he took a real solid interest in that, a very dramatic interest. As far as Kathy Hochul and what she's doing here with ICE, ICE is getting bad people off the street. I mean, I've seen it here in Nassau County, how the Nassau County police work so effectively with ICE. When you're talking about illegal immigrants who are guilty of crimes, how they're handled so quickly and expeditiously. And that's what you want. And who benefits from that? The people in the street, the average person who walks back and forth, who goes back and forth to work, who goes shopping, is taking a kid, it's a Little League game, or taking a kid to school in the morning. You don't want these animals on the street, and ICE is getting rid of so many of them. Even if they just get rid of one, think what that would mean. Instead, though, they're getting rid of tens and hundreds. I mean, they are making New York safe, and what Kathy Hochul is doing by playing to the cheap seats is basically weakening the police, weakening ICE, because it weakens everybody who's involved in law enforcement if they can't deal with a key component of the law enforcement machine.
Let's close this way, Congressman Peter King. The situation in Iran, it looks like it's over. It looks like it's not over. It looks like we're headed to extreme, then it pulls back from extremes. What do you think? What happens here, and how does it look right now to you?
I think unless the president may wait till his visit to China is over, it's possible that he'll get some good results out of that trip to China as far as China's policy toward Iran. But I would say if by next weekend there's not real progress, I mean genuine concessions by Iran, I think the president is going to step up the military activity. And even though the president is having trouble with our NATO allies, get them involved also in clearing the streets of Hormuz. They have abilities to do it. They have the mine-clearing ships to do it. So work with them, clear the Straits of Hormuz, take increased military action, and we can't be letting Iran control the timetable here. President Trump, this issue goes beyond the midterm elections. It goes beyond what the media happens to say at any given time. If we can't get nuclear materials out of Iran, we're just really endangering the lives of our children and grandchildren.
Fair enough. Congressman, it's always great to chat with you. Thank you very much. And have fun in New Orleans at the graduation for your grandchild.
You guys, we'll be thinking of you. We'll give a toast to you. So thank you, Dominic.
Fantastic. Enjoy yourself. Dominic Carter here with you, folks. That was Congressman Peter King. And I've got to take a break. You know what? I don't want to rush someone past the call. So let's go ahead and take that break. And when we come back, we see all of your telephone calls. You folks have a lot to talk about. We're going to do exactly that. The program goes back to you. 800-848-9222. Dominic Carter here with you. 800-848-9222. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day. Folks, I've been known throughout my entire career to call it exactly the way it is. Straight fastball, no changeup, no curve, straight 100 mile an hour down the middle, strike three, you're out. Many of you thought it was cute to have a radio personality run for mayor. You thought it was cute to have him on the Republican line. Do you think it's cute now? now that you're stuck with Mamdani? And it's because of that Republican candidate. I'm telling you, I bet my life on it that Cuomo would have been the mayor of New York City, if not for this joke of a clown, of a character who's not qualified to mop the floors, and he was running for mayor, and you folks got behind it. And I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Let's go to line 1, Russ in White Plains. I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to do it anyway. What's on your mind, Russ?
If Cuomo hadn't run in the primary, we might
Wait, I can't. Your phone is very bad, but let's try it anyway. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dominic. Can you hear me better now?
It's very, it's a big crackle. Just go ahead and get to your point so I can move on.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's an important fact that you can't use these synagogues for land sales of occupied territory, okay?
I have no idea. Wait a minute. You're probably saying something anti-Semitic and language that I'm not following. Russ, just say exactly what you mean. Stop trying to be cute by half. Say exactly what you mean.
Most of the people at the protest are Jewish people who think it's blasphemy to sell land on occupied.
Dominic is done with you.
Now, you stood for an hour waiting to get through. You stood for an hour last night waiting to get through, Russ. To say that? What? Do you get your rocks off doing this? Or do you think you're poison? You know what? I'm starting to turn on you, Russ. I've always thought you were okay guy until you just said what you said. What is wrong with you? You have people being attacked for no other reason except for they're Jewish, for being protested against for no other reason except for they're Jewish. Not in Israel, in New York City. You waited an hour last night, an hour today to say that? Come on, man. You're bigger than that. You're better than that. Let's go to line 3, Sal in Oceanside, New York. Sal, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, I don't know if my connection's any better, but...
It's much better. Go ahead. Please lose Russ on line 1. He's wasting a line. Go ahead. I don't even want to see his name on my board. Or he's still on my board. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, my quick comment, that was actually teed it up pretty well, because I have grandparents that survived the Holocaust, and my advice to anyone Jewish is just to keep surviving and thriving. Other than that, it's all a crapshoot. As far as my questions, I'd really love your opinion on what would make any Jew vote for him in the first place, and what is he going to do when he drives the 1% out of Manhattan? Where's that money going to come from?
It's not going to come from his pocket. It's not going to come from mommy's Hollywood movie career. It's not going to come from anti-Semitic dad or his racist wife. It's going to come from the middle class. You already know where it's going to come from, Sal. You don't need me to answer that. This guy is a joke, just like AOC. Democrat nominee for president. I try not to say it because she's a woman and, the dumbest doorknob ever. Running for president? Are we serious? Sal, thank you. Thank you for the call. She insults the bartenders of America. Mike in St. James, New York. What's on your mind? Line 2, Mike.
Right to the point, Dominic. For the new governor next year to remove Mamdani, does the mayor have to commit a crime first?
No. He just has to do something really bad. So let's say Bruce Blakeman pulls an upset. And then he sits and lays in the cut and waits for Mamdani to do something awful, and then he could step in. And he doesn't have to play party politics because he is a Republican. A Democrat would never do it. But, he could do the same to the district attorney, Alvin Bragg. The governor, the Manhattan DA, the governor is the only person that can do it. Other than that, we could have 5 million signatures on a petition. It means absolutely nothing. Mamdani collectively has us by the cojones. Folks, born from the tragedy of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been honoring America's heroes ever since. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. T2T.org. I am back live at midnight.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?